A very good afternoon to all the students who are present today for yet another lecture of second year BCom semester 3 for the subject Business Administration. Now, I hope that you have been attending all the lectures of BA, so you know that we have been discussing on the third chapter of Unit 1 that talks all about human resource planning. Out of all the contents, we have already covered the meaning of human resource planning. I have discussed with you the different characteristics of human resource planning. We have also discussed both the internal as well as the external factors affecting human resource planning. And in the previous lecture, I also summed up the discussion on the procedure of human resource planning. So the focus for today's lecture shall be to understand the advantages and what are the limitations particularly for human resource planning. So with this, today we shall be not only finishing the third chapter, but it shall also be finishing your first unit of BA, which we covered with three chapters, namely Human Resource Management, EHRM, and today we also finished the third chapter that was human resource planning. So before we wind up by understanding the advantages and limitations, you can have a quick look, a quick glimpse of whatever we have covered up till now. And thereby I would also give you a quick recap on the procedure of human resource planning so that in case you did not attend the previous lectures, you will still get an idea of whatever is covered. So students, you have understood the meaning of HRP. I have not only discussed in detail, but we have revised it many times. So I would not be going in detail today. You have understood the characteristics of human resource planning. We have understood with a topic on factors affecting human resource planning. So I hope you remember few factors which were within the control of the organization. They were the internal factors, while the ones outside the control, beyond the control of organization were the external factors. There were these four factors each which we had discussed in both internal as well as external. So I hope that you remember all the factors we had discussed pertaining to human resource planning. Now, in previous few lectures, we have been discussing an important topic, that is the procedure of human resource planning. So before we move on with the advantages and the limitations of HRP, I would give you a quick recap of the procedure of HRP. Being an important answer, you should know about the procedure. So we had discussed the 5-step procedure of human resource planning, and I hope that you remember. It began with determining the goals. Thereafter, we had collected data about the existing manpower. We estimated the demand of manpower. We forecasted the supply of manpower. And lastly, we brought a balance between the demand and the supply. So students, have a quick look at all the steps. And when you are writing it in the form of answer, make sure that the steps are in the same sequence as shown above. So we had determined the goal of the company. We collected data about the existing manpower. The manpower demand was forecasted. Manpower supply was estimated. And lastly, an action plan was taken to bring both demand and supply at a desirable balance. So you can have a quick look at all the different steps. So students, I hope you remember the first step we did was determining the goal of the company. So it was the detailed list of goals that had to be determined. Once the goals of the company are decided, one can get an idea as to whether the necessary manpower is available in the organization, whether new recruitments have to be made, or whether the ones who are existing needs to be trained. So we had discussed them in detail. It would give us an idea as to what kind of labor was required, whether skilled, whether semi-skilled or unskilled. We discussed the second step also, whereby data had to be collected about the existing manpower. So I hope you remember those 4 ways, 4 methods with which data can be collected about the human resource already working in the organization. Because once you have the data with you, you can get an idea whether new recruitments are required or whether you have adequate number of human resource or whether you need to work for training the same. So these were your 4 things. First was manpower inventory. So it was inventory of the existing manpower in the organization. Then we had prepared manning tables. That was tables showing the list of jobs and all the employees who are working at those jobs. Skill inventory, that was inventory of different skills possessed by the employees. And lastly, we had to analyze and examine all the data collected above. That was done under the process of manpower audit. So students, we have discussed all the methods in detail. I would now be going a little quick. So when you also explain the step, you should explain all the 4 parts separately. I had shown you different skills that must be possessed by the employees. So with this, your step number 2 had got over. In the previous lecture, that is in yesterday's lecture, we also discussed the remaining 3 steps of human resource planning procedure. That was now to forecast the manpower demand, and it was also forecasted based on 4 factors. These were the factors that were affecting the manpower demand. So I had explained you that the first was the trends of employment, that is to understand the tendency of employees sticking to the organization or leaving the organization. We discussed the replacement needs, that is to say it may happen that the death, dismissal or resignations or retirement by an employee tends to create vacancies in the organization, so the same has to be replaced. There were some productivity changes bringing about change in the manpower demand. And lastly, the more an organization expands and develops, the more will be the labor requirement. If you remember, we also discussed the methods of demand forecasting. The first, which was meant for the short-term demand forecasting, and the other meant for the long-term. So the first was workload analysis, which helped us get an idea as to how many laborers are required for the given production. So first, the total production had to be considered. Thereafter, analyzing as to how many workers are required to produce one unit, so that we can decide the total number of employees needed by the department. We understood the second method, that was workforce analysis, used for the long-term planning, and it was also affected by absenteeism, that is the rate of employees remaining absent in the organization, and the labor turnover, that is rate of employees leaving the organization. So I hope with this you remember the 4th step also, that was estimating the manpower supply. It could be either the internal source or the external source. The internal sources were affected by the analysis of retention, that is to understand the labor turnover rate. Stability index, that was the tendency of employees to stay in the organization for a long period of time. And the internal movement, that could be internal movement of employees within the organization, maybe through transfers, maybe through promotions. And lastly, we talked about the external sources of labor as well. That is to say, when internal sources are not adequate enough, the organization will make use of external sources and thereby get the labor supply. And to sum up the procedure, we discussed the 5th point, that was to take an action plan, thereby bringing both manpower demand and manpower supply at a desirable balance. So with this, we had summed up the discussion of the procedure of human resource planning, an important answer yet interesting to understand. So I hope that you are clear once again with the entire procedure of human resource planning. As I said, today we shall be finishing the chapter and your first unit itself that talked all about human resource. So let us move on with the new topics of the day. We are going to understand the advantages and the limitations of human resource planning. So students, let us first discuss now all about the advantages or the importance, the merits of undertaking human resource planning. Up till now, you already know the meaning of human resource planning, that we are planning about the requirement of manpower, human resource in an organization. So some questions might be coming in your mind that why should one plan the human resource? They can be recruited whenever the organization wants and they can be released whenever they are of no use. But then it is not the case with human resource. Human resource has to be planned because an organization in no case requires understaffing or overstaffing of employees. If they have less employees than what is required, the targets won't be achieved. And if it is having more employees than required, it would be an expensive burden for the company itself. So definitely human resource planning has to be undertaken and there are a number of importances, advantages pertaining to the same. So let us understand them one by one. The first, as you can see, the one which you have been understanding from day one is that human resource planning would help provide for future demand. As I said, we neither want a situation of under or overstaffing. So once you have properly estimated the labor requirement, the manpower requirement is completely estimated, you can definitely make arrangements for the same. That is to say, when an organization has determined how many laborers are available in the organization, how many are actually required, the gap can be filled very easily by either recruiting the people from outside or one can also work on training of the people already there in the organization. So, in this way, the flow of production will never be disturbed. The targets will always be achieved, and there will be never a case of understaffing or overstaffing. So human resource planning would help estimate the manpower demand and thereby would also help supply the correct amount of laborers. The second, human resource planning is also advantageous to increase the morale of the workers. Now, we are talking about the psychological impact that human resource planning creates. Under human resource planning, where you are planning about the human resource, when you are giving them proper training, you are also granting them promotions, you are filling the vacancies as and when they are created, it will definitely raise the morale of the workers. And when they are motivated, they are encouraged, they are going to give their best, they are going to work with utmost efficiency. So not only HRP is helping to provide for future demand, but also those employees who are existing in the organization working already, they can also be motivated. Number three, improvement in efficiency. Now think about a situation where you already know your labor requirements. You already know that so many manpower is required in the organization and the sufficient recruitments have already been made. So you would always have the labor supply, trained labor supply to achieve the targets, to achieve the objectives. The employees are trained, they are also promoted based on their performance. So definitely the efficiency will be improvised. In fact, if there is any sort of deficiency or if one can see some reasons for low productivity, some ways and means can be taken to remove them as well. Training programs can be implemented. Ultimately, the overall efficiency of organization can be increased. But that is only possible when you undertake a proper planning of human resource. Number four, it also helps for availability of skilled manpower. Now we know that there is abundance of labor available, but then you also require laborers who are skilled, who are qualified. And there is always such problem of acquiring the skilled employees or the skilled manpower. So human resource planning will help us understand the requirement of such manpower, and in case you already have those employees, necessary training can be provided to the same. Thereby, the organization will always have easy availability of skilled manpower. Number five, human resource planning would also help in controlling the labor cost. Now, labor cost is again one of the prime costs of the total cost of production. So, when you make adequate recruitments, when you neither go for understaffing nor overstaffing, it would definitely result in controlling the labor cost. Ultimately, when the cost is reduced, the business can enjoy high return on investments. Thereby, human resource planning also helps in the implementation of long term plans. Now, when I'm talking about the long term plans, we mean to say that if the organization is planning something in the long term, let us say it is planning expansion, development, wants to go for modernization, wants to expand in terms of its branches, in that case, it will have to even determine the manpower requirement. Once you have sufficient laborers required, once you know your future plans based on which you know when and where the recruitments have to be made, definitely the long term plans can be implemented very well. Because based on those long term plans, the manager will not only make the necessary recruitments, but will also work in training those who are available in the organization. And lastly, human resource planning will help bring a desirable balance between the demand and supply of the laborers. Because we neither want excess nor do we want shortage of labor force, because in either of the cases the labor cost will have to be borne by the firm, so it can be removed when you have an efficient human resource planning. So I hope that you are clear with all the different advantages that we have discussed about human resource planning. I give you 10 seconds. You can have a quick look at all the points once again. So with this, we move to the last topic of the chapter of the unit that talks on the limitations of human resource planning. Now, after having studied all the advantages, it is always possible that there would be few limitations as well. We are talking about human resource planning, and planning is not foolproof. Planning also suffers from some limitations. By planning, we are just meaning to estimate, we are just forecasting. And because future is uncertain, who knows the estimates made or the forecasts made are accurate also or not. There is no guarantee behind the same. So definitely there would be few limitations. Also, the forecasts that are made is made on some data, could be the past experience, and in case the data itself is not reliable, of course, planning would also not be foolproof. So let us understand the limitations of human resource planning. As I said, estimates are not always accurate. Now, when I talk about human resource planning, we have seen how we forecast manpower demand, how we are estimating the manpower supply. But then they all are just based on estimates. You may have estimated the manpower requirement that you require so many workers for such a time duration, but there are a number of factors that tends to affect the manpower demand. We have seen some of which earlier also. Could be a sudden death, could be the dismissal, could be the retirement, could be the resignation by an employee to an employee, and there are a number of other factors as well. Could be a technology change, could be the change in the economic conditions, could be the change in the sales, the demand of the product, and these factors are not within the control of an organization. So because these factors would happen all of a sudden, it would try to prove the estimates wrong. So it may happen that the estimates of the labor requirements may tend to get imperfect, may tend to get wrong, and ultimately the planning fails. Second one that you can see is lack of information about vacancies. Now, definitely, we are talking about the manpower supply and we make use of internal sources and external sources. But the management has to obtain the correct information also about the vacancies created or the vacancies that may be created in the near future. If information is not available only pertaining to the vacancies that may have been created due to the death, dismissal, or retirement of the employees, or resignation, or maybe through transfers, promotions, demotions, then it would be very difficult for the manager to make the necessary recruitments or to fill in the gaps and vacancies. So ultimately, when the information itself is not available, it is very difficult to do the recruitments. Thereafter, lack of cooperation from the top level management. If you remember in the characteristics we had studied that human resource planning would require the top management's support. So when there is lack of cooperation from the top management, maybe in terms of their time or the money or their support, human resource planning would fail. So definitely it requires complete cooperation from the top level management as well, absence of which would result it into a limitation of human resource planning. And lastly, unreliable data or the data which is not trustworthy, which is incorrect, inaccurate, or not adequate enough. So, human resource planning can be correctly formulated only when based on reliable data. You need to have appropriate data about the labor availability or the labor supply. It could be the internal sources and it could be the information from the external sources of labor as well, because it definitely keeps on changing due to one reason or another. So one needs to obtain reliable data for the same. In case the data is not reliable, it is incorrect, ultimately will prove to be a limitation of human resource planning. And it will be giving us a wrong picture of the manpower demand and the manpower supply. So students, with this, we are actually coming to the end of your third chapter of Unit 1, that is Human Resource Planning. We have discussed by now the entire first unit that talked on 3 chapters altogether. Chapter number 1 that we did was human resource management. Chapter number 2 that we did was your electronic HRM. And third chapter that we finished today is all about human resource planning. So on this note, I wind up the first unit of business administration. As you know, the entire unit we have been talking about one of the most important resource in an organization, that is none other than but human resources. In the next lectures to come, we are going to discuss with the fourth chapter, and we are going to start with the second unit that will talk about career planning and executive development. We would be studying about the meaning of career, the different career stages, and how career planning for an employee is very important, why training has to be imparted, which are the methods of imparting training to the employees. So that we shall be discussing in the next lecture to come. Before I wind up for today, you can have a quick recap of whatever you have done today. So you have understood the limitations. You have understood the different advantages of human resource planning. So I hope that you are clear with whatever you have studied up till now. In case you have any doubts, you can always post them in the Google Classroom of your respective class, and I shall be answering to them at the earliest. See you soon in the next lecture when we begin with the fourth chapter talking all about career planning and training. Until then, happy learning. Thank you so much for the day.